Hello, my name's Chrissy. I'm going to be doing a currently reading video because I feel like that's a good way to start off. See what I'm reading? Let's get started. This includes books that I am reading, obviously, but also books that I read maybe like 60, 100 pages and then just stopped and then never picked it up again. So yeah. All right. First book, Assassin's Apprentice. Um, I'm not a real fantasy person. I really can't read it, but I'm trying. It'll take me about 20 minutes to read one page, but I'm getting through it. I'm only literally on page 20. I'm buddy reading this with my fiance. So it's probably going to take me a while to get through that one because we're taking it very slow. We're not even reading like a chapter a day. We're like reading a chapter maybe a week. So next one. This is just a random thriller that I found at my grocery store. And I liked it because the cover was red and the synopsis was interesting. I don't know if I should talk about them. I'll just read it to you, I guess. Your phone rings. A stranger has kidnapped your child. The stranger explains that their child has also been kidnapped by a completely different stranger. The only way to get your child back is to kidnap another child. You are now part of the chain. I was like, that's cool. And then I got to page 80, and it just became really unrealistic to the point where it was bugging the crap out of me. And so I just stopped reading it. But it's really easy to read, and it was interesting at first. But I just kind of struggled to be consistent with thrillers and mysteries and stuff like that because sometimes the plot twists are predictable or the characters are dumb and yeah, can't do it. Next, my favorite author, Isaac Asimov. I read I Robot a little bit ago, really liked it, and then I had been hesitant to pick up this one. I don't know why. I would get in moods of like, oh, I want to read it, and then I wouldn't read it. So I'm reading it. It's good. It's a short little book. It's about robots. What else could you want? Next, Michael Crichton. I tried reading this. I read Jurassic Park, then I read Andromeda Strain. I love both of them. Then it went to this one. I honestly can't even tell you what this one's about because I had stopped reading it so long ago. Maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. I got like 50, 60 pages in and then I was like, I'm not feeling this book. I put it down, haven't picked it up since, but I do want to try all of these I want to try and finish obviously, but we'll see how long that takes me. Also this book, it's a secondhand book. It kind of stinks a little bit. Like literally smells, and that's not very motivating for me to want to read it. Next, John Scalzi, Locket. I had been wanting to try this author, and so I had thought, and this was after I read Andromeda Strain. Andromeda Strain's about a virus, and then I read the back of this, and I was like, oh, or I think I watched a recommendation video, and somebody said that this was about a virus. I was like, oh, that's cool. This is not about a virus. It not in the way that Andromeda Strain was. Andromeda Strain was all about the science, how the virus was killing people, whatever. This is a murder mystery that has a side plot of a virus. But it wasn't good. I really didn't like it, and of course well, when I bought this book, I didn't read the back. I tend to not do that because a lot of the times it spoils the book for me. So I'd rather just read it. But the risk of that is that I get something that I don't want. And so this one, I don't know. I literally spilled ink on it. That's how much I didn't care about this book. I threw it in my bag and like it would get all fucked up and I was like, eh. So I don't know if I'm going to finish this one. But if anything, I'll probably read something else from this author because he does have other interesting stuff that I want to read. Next, The Host. This movie, I don't have the movie cover. Well, I do have the movie cover, but I wanted to show you the eyeball cover so you can get freaked the fuck out. Okay, because this is a terrible cover. Who the fuck let her publish it with this cover? Anyways, I love this damn movie, and I was like, I knew that there was a book, but I had never read the book. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna read the book. I'm on page 300 something. There's 800 pages in this book. This book is chunky. I'm like slowly reading it, but it's so fun. Like it's so good. And I had read Twilight. I don't like Twilight. I had read it. That book was trash. Watch the movie. That movie's trash. So I don't feel that way about this. And I'm hoping that There's nothing Twilighty about this book. I mean, you got the love triangle, which I like. It's fine. Um, but it's just so good. Like the alien part, really good. Next, The Lathe of Heaven. So this one I'm actually listening to on audiobook. I'm trying to um it's really freaking good. I'm like halfway through it. It's a super short book. It's a little I don't know if it's an I don't know, but it's a short book. And it's really good. It's about this guy who has dreams, and then whatever he dreams it comes true, and it alters reality, and basically how he struggles with that. And it's really good. Like, I obviously this book I picked up not knowing what the hell it was about, because I just like to do that. And sometimes it bites me in the ass, but a lot of times I'll end up like this, where I was like, oh, I literally did not know anything about this book, and it was really good. And I had been wanting to try Ursula K. Le Guin for a long time, because she has a lot of classic sci-fi stuff, and I just read too many male authors in sci-fi. I want to read more female authors. So yeah, super good so far. And then the special beauty, Barbarian Mind. This series is fucking amazing. I don't care what you think. It's so good. So good. And these special editions are fucking beautiful. Okay? This is so good. This is like cozy at the max, but it's also funny, and it touches it, like it warms your heart. You cry about it. You're like, "Oh, that's so sad. That's so cute." And then there's like some sex scenes and you're like, "Okay." It's it's good. So good. I already bought the next one. What the hell is it called? Barbarian's Prize, cuz that special edition recently came out and I bought that. Bought that shit so fast. So good. So I'm 80% of the way through this one. Yeah. I'm close to finishing that one. Then, oh Jesus. I haven't seen this book in a long time. It's got like dust all over it. The Troop. Last October, I was like, "Oh, I'm in the mood to read some horror thriller shit." Like, this is the book that I had been wanting to read for a long time. So I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna read it during October, like Halloween month." I didn't get very far, and honestly, I think it was just the size of this book. I love pocket-sized books because I have small hands, so for whatever reason, I can read a pocket-sized book just fine. Like, I read Dune in a pocket-sized version and I blew through that. If I read it like this size, I don't think I would have made it through. So I think it just the font size, like there's too many words on the page. I know that's stupid. That shouldn't matter, but it matters to me. I want to have that like dopamine rush of like, ooh, I finished a page. Ooh, I finished a page. Ooh, I finished a chapter. I don't get that with this. So I think probably during this October, I will try to reattempt to read this. But like try really hard. Like I'm not going to read anything else but this during October, cuz it's such a pretty book too, and I have a freaking cute ass bookmark. Look at this. Oh, dinosaurs didn't read and look what happened to them. So good. It has nothing to do with the book, but it's orange and green just like the book. Okay. Put that itch back for a while cuz it's not going to be October for a good bit. And then the last physical book I have, probably one that nobody's ever heard of. I'm in Love with the Villainess, Volume 3. I'm not really a manga person, which is weird because you think that I would be. I don't know why, but I think I just haven't tried the right series because I watched some anime. I watched like Attack on Titan. I watched Promise Neverland. That one's so good. What else did I watch? Death Note. I watched Death Note. And then I don't know. I think the fact that there's so many volumes just kind of turns me off a little bit. So my like compromise, I guess you'd say, was like light novels. And so this was a sapphic one. I was like, okay, cool. And I read the first one. I really liked it. It was cozy. It was a little weird, like the dialogue. It was just a little weird, but the story was cute. And then I get to this book. Like you're like, oh, they have kids. That's so cute. Bitch, this book is so boring. This book is so. I'm literally halfway through, and I can't. There's not a single bone in my body that wants to finish this book. And the problem is, I already bought volume 4 of this. I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna read volume 4 if I can't even get through volume 3? But it's like there's like 5 words on each page, so it's really easy to read. It's just not interesting whatsoever. So there's that. And then my tablet just went to sleep. You fucking bitch. Okay. And then I have a few that I was reading on an e-reader or had gotten a library book and then returned it. So the first is going to be The Dreaming Stars. That one, part of a series, sci-fi series. The first book is The Wrong Stars. So good. I was like, the main character's a woman. She's gay. There's a non-binary character in the crew. There's an asexual character in the crew. There's all these things. I was like, that's so cool. Because, in sci-fi, you don't really get a lot of representation. So it was really refreshing to see that, but also an extremely interesting story. The Dreaming Stars is the second book, and I feel like it just suffers from second book syndrome because in the first book, it was like at every moment, I didn't know what to expect. I was like, oh my God, like I didn't expect that, but this is amazing. Second book, I feel like there's just too much of like, oh, remember this that happened in the first book? Remember this that happened in the first book? You remember that in the first book? Like, yeah, bitch, I remember it because the first book was good. It was distinguishable. It was unique. It wasn't like a bunch of cliches. Like, yeah, I remember. And I had tried to read the second book like right after the first one. So of course I literally remembered everything. So I kind of put that one on hold. I think I read like halfway through it. Too much recalling and the story's just not as fast paced as the first one was. So, yeah. Next one, Thunderhead, which is part of the Scythe. I don't know what it's called, but the first book's the Scythe book. Um, that one I'm buddy reading with my fiance. We've been buddy reading that one for a while. We love the world, but there's nothing about that book that is like, oh my God, I need to read it. You read a chapter and you'd be like, okay, I'm done. I don't need to pick this book up again for another month. Like, it doesn't bother you. It's not like it's bad. It's just not good enough to keep you hooked. So hopefully we'll get through that one eventually. And then The Fellowship of the Ring. At one point in time, my fiance and I were like, hey, let's read each other's favorite books. So, okay. So I tried to read The Fellowship of the Ring. Gets the part in the forest. I was so fucking bored. I was like, baby, I can't read this. Like, I'm done. I can't, no. So I put the book on hold during that forest chapter, whatever. I don't remember what page it was around, but then I never picked it up again. And like I said, I'm not a real fantasy person, so who knows when I'm going to pick that up again. And the last one, Princess Gambit. I can't remember what the first one was called. Prince something. Writing style is so good, and it is like a fantasy, so it takes me like 5 minutes to read a page, but the pages are good. Like, it's worth it. For whatever reason, I just haven't. I don't think I've been in the mood to read that one. Like, I'd rather read a romance or a sci-fi than read that. So I get in these, little peaks where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna read romance. Oh, I'm gonna read thriller. Oh, I'm gonna read fantasy. And so I just have to take those opportunities when they come. So whenever I'm in the mood to read fantasy, I gotta finish Lord of the Rings. I gotta read Assassin's Apprentice, and I gotta read fucking Princess Gambit. If I'm in the mood for sapphic stuff, I just gotta read I'm in Love with the Villainess, even if it kills me. And I'm a mood reader, so it's not like I'm gonna be, oh, well, I've already started 15 books. Like, I'll start another one. I don't give a shit. I wanna be enjoying what I read and not forcing myself to read something just because, like, oh, well, I'm 75% of the way through. No, okay? It happened to me. I was reading a KU book, got 75% of the way through. There was a scene that just killed me, and I couldn't read the book ever again. I DNF'd it. I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to finish that. These ones that I have physically, I don't plan on DNFing. It's like just, I have to wait for the right time to come before I try to read them again. So yeah, that was everything. Kind of a lot, a little bit chaotic, but that's what's going to happen around here. All right. See you in the next video. Bye.